Thousands of people are taking to the streets in Budapest today to mark the anniversary of Hungary's 1956 anti-Soviet uprising. On what is a highly symbolic day for Hungary, they demonstrate at competing events. One rally is being held by Viktor Orban's governing party and another organized by the Prime Minister's main political opponent. Both sides are looking to drum up support ahead of tense elections next year. And we'll try to go live now to DW senior international correspondent Fanny Fashar. She is covering those competing marches in Budapest today. Fanny, rival rallies in Budapest, what can we expect? You're in the thick of it.
Well, normally these are commemorations every year to remember a very, very painful chapter of Hungarian history, 1956, when ordinary citizens took to the streets against the then Soviet-backed government and Soviet control. So you actually see a lot of unifying in remembering and recalling that bloody fall of 1956. You'll see a lot of people carrying this flag, the Hungarian flag with a hole. That hole was cut into the flag in 1956 because there was the Soviet emblem. So that is definitely unifying, regardless whether you join this pro-government march or later on today, the march of the biggest opposition party right now, the TISZA party, the center-right party. But this is exactly from there on in terms of how people link history with current affairs, where the things start to differ, the visions start to differ. Talking to people here who are joining this pro-government march organized by the ruling Fidesz party, they say Hungary is under threat today as well, but not by Russia, they say, but by the European Union. So they basically echo what they hear also by Prime Minister Viktor Orban, that he's been saying frequently, that the independence and the sovereignty of Hungary is under threat because everything allegedly is being dictated by the people in Brussels. Now, for viewers, Hungary is part of the European Union. And then you'll hear, of course, people who are going to join later the other marches of various opposition parties who say, in fact, there's way too much Russian influence in this country, speaking about the dependence on Russian energy, Russian gas, Russian oil, that they say the government is actually not doing enough to divest from that and look for alternatives. So certainly, while officially this is about commemorating a very painful chapter in Hungarian history, one really has the impression as if there were elections in Hungary on Sunday, because there's so much a political messaging, regardless which party we speak about today, when it comes to making this link between history and current affairs.
Elections coming up, not on Sunday, but in 6 months. And in a sense, today can be seen as the real beginning of Hungary's election campaign. What's at stake for longtime leader Viktor Orban?
What's at stake overall is obviously, just like in every election, the future of the country. What we may expect to hear from Prime Minister Viktor Orban, reading his speeches from previous years, ever since he was re-elected in 2010, we will likely hear again and again that, according to his vision, there needs to be a stronger Hungary in terms of more sovereignty, making sure that the European Union is basically being changed according to the vision of a party, the ruling Fidesz party, that started as a rather center-right party, but moving more and more to the right, to the far right, in fact, of the political spectrum. So you'll hear a lot about Brussels, you'll hear a lot about the European Union. The question is whether he's going to go actually to speak beyond foreign policy, because speaking to people, also to supporters of the ruling Fidesz, they very much care actually about domestic politics versus foreign policy. They care about how much money is left in their purse, and looking at the main indicators of the economy right now, and Orban's promising a flying start of the economy earlier this year, it doesn't work right now at this point. In fact, even according to moderate estimates, probably the economic growth rate is not going to go beyond 1% this year. So people, regardless which political party they support, many of them say they are feeling the brunt. The question is only whether they want to trust another 4 years of the ruling Fidesz party, or whether they can imagine an alternative. According to polls, at least, they can, because for the first time in more than a decade, the biggest opposition party, the center-right TISZA party, is leading in many polls. However, there's still 6 months to go, and there are, at this point, millions of undecided voters.
That was senior international correspondent Fanny Fashar at the Pro-Fidesz march in Budapest there. Thanks so much, Fanny.